Hi everybody, welcome to today's video. Probably the happiest that I've been in years. And I wanted to make a video because I feel like the majority of your early 20s, I think I was sold that they were gonna be this time of so much fun and freedom, and they would be the happiest times of my life, and I would look back on them with just so much fondness. And while I do have that, I found that from the ages of like 18 to 22, I really was sort of developing all of the skills to really like come into my own as a person, and like I'm 24 now, so I don't know, I'm like, that's like mid-20s, I guess. Ugh, that's a bit scary. For some context, I just like had kind of a rough time my first 2 years of college. Then the pandemic hit, and like none of us were doing super well then, I feel like. Then I moved to go study abroad. Then I went back to college to do the last year of my schooling. I didn't know anybody. And then now I moved to London, and it's just been like so much change in the past 6 years that I feel like I've learned so much in that short period of time. And I do still have so much to learn, but I feel like I've really hit a point in my life where like for the past year, I have been really sort of steady in my health and happiness. Like I'm just in a good spot. So number one is build healthy habits so that they don't overtake your life. When I was like 18, 19, like I moved to college and I really wanted to like get into the gym, but I just had no idea. And like the first year that I would go to the gym, I would go way too hard. I like wasn't good at it. I would feel really insecure the whole time. It was really a chore, and it sort of overtook my life. So I would feel really guilty if I couldn't get to the gym, or I would feel bad about myself if I couldn't do that, or I would try to, eat well and maybe like overly focus on that sometimes. And I think that my first year of college, I was like, I think so much had changed in my life that I was really just trying to like hold on to certain like healthy habits and like sort of doing the right things now that I was like coming into my adulthood. And I don't regret those years at all. I would say that was like my first, actually that continued when I went to Scotland too. I got really into fitness when I moved to Scotland, and I would go to like body pump classes like every day of the week at like 6 a.m., which again, I feel like is quite an extreme. But I think that because I spent all that time sort of trial and erroring, like I would go really hard in the gym for like a month and then I would sort of give up. And then by the time I hit my year in Scotland, I was going to the gym so hard, like that whole entire year. I was just talking to my friend Liv about this, and she was like, you were literally buff that year. Like you went to this one like HIIT class, and I was a bit insane. Like I was like way too into the gym and like trying to eat the right things and do all the right things that I just sort of like, it sort of overtook like too much of my thought process. But I think right now in my life, in my senior year, I would like sometimes go to the gym. Like I probably go like once or twice a week, and then I would just like walk a lot, and I sort of built up those healthy habits of like not feeling bad if I ate a certain thing, and then and I never had like an eating problem, but I think that just like most young girls at some point struggle. I'm gonna generalize. I think most young people, especially in our generation, like with social media and stuff, like you can get hyper fixated on like your diet and what you're eating and what you look like. And from someone who's gone from like both extremes, like my body really didn't change that much. And like someone in the comments might be like, you probably were doing it wrong. And like, you know what? You were right. But I never had the capacity or the time to actually learn how to do those things right. But I guess throughout all these years of like one extreme to the other, I am much happier sort of like sometimes going to the gym, trying to get out and walk, doing it for my mental health, like not being so overly focused on it. And that is something that is really adding to my overall well-being. Number two, prioritize making real connections with people. So I feel like in your 20s, you're gonna meet a lot of different types of people. And there are certain people that come into your life for a season. And then there are those people that like, you just meet them and you just like click, like everything about them and you just kind of clicks. And having those like really special people in your life is so important. And prioritizing those relationships is never going to be something that you regret. Obviously, you don't want to like do this to an obsessive level. And then even, you're young, you're going out there, you're like trying to meet new people. I think just like, even if you are only going to speak to this person like probably one time, trying to just be yourself and be honest in those interactions is definitely a skill, not trying to like overthink it and be like, oh, what's my relationship with this person? Like, oh, do I like them? Like, I would just honestly throw a lot of that kind of thinking out when you're meeting people in your 20s and just have an open mind and try to meet people where they are and just be yourself. Which I know is like such like ethereal advice. I just think that it's led to me being really happy with the relationships that I have in my life and happy for what each of them is, and they all don't have to be exactly the same. It's not like a one size fits all for all the people in my life. And if they come in and out, like there are some people like I'll be fine with that. Like that's just life. And then there are some people where I'm like, I want you in my wedding, and you should call those people. But also don't discard the people that come in and out of your life, because those can be really beautiful relationships. Number 3 is try to have at least one new experience a month. I think being in your 20s, people encourage you to like have new experiences, but I think that this is something for anybody of any age, because having a new experience changes your perspective. And I think that there are so many people on this planet, there are so many different perspectives and opinions, and we're all so connected on our phones all the time. Trying to have like a new, real, in-person experience a month, even if it's just like having a conversation with somebody you don't know, or trying, a new class, or trying out a new project. Anything new that you can introduce will sort of introduce the idea to you that like whatever circumstance you're in, you're not stuck there. You can change things in your life. And I think having that knowledge, even on like that really small, like habitual level of like, I'm just gonna try this one time a month, it can bring you confidence to try new things and not be afraid of failing. Yeah, which sort of leads into no, actually it doesn't lead into the next one, but there's another one that kind of connects to that one, and I should have put them next to each other, but I didn't. Number 4 is going to be plan things to look forward to. So I always talk about this. I always say it at the end of my videos now, but I had this life coach last year, and like within 30 seconds of meeting me, she was like, you need to have more fun. And that was a new experience too. That was kind of crazy that she said that to me and clocked me so hard in our first meeting. I like stopped seeing her like very shortly after that, but that one sentence from that one stranger like completely changed my whole entire life when she said like, you need to have more fun. Her name is Lisa. That's why I always say Lisa says to have fun. I had never had the mindset of like prioritizing, planning fun things to do, like planning fun things in my life. That had never been something that I was like, I need to do this so that I can be a healthy, functioning, happy person. I was just like, oh, I need to like work on my goals and work on, getting money and saving things and working really hard and doing well on that test. And though having only those things as your priorities, I think tilts the scales of what's important in your life, because you're alive not just to girl boss, you're alive to gaslight and gatekeep. And number 5 goes exactly against this, which is work hard. I find that some of the worst weeks I've ever had in college is like weeks where I had absolutely nothing to do, because if you aren't getting up every day and doing something at least a little bit productive, that can really take a toll on your mental health. Obviously, like working hard at something and trying to strive to do better things, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a grade or a promotion or like something easily definable like that. It can be something that's completely up to you. But working towards something just has definitely made me a happier person, but also not putting all of my eggs in that one basket. And that's where the like planning to do fun things really helped like balance me out as a human being, because I used to be like so stressed all the time, and then I like didn't prioritize having fun. Like it would just sort of like happen, but it's like you need to be having fun on a regular basis. And like, when has anybody ever told you that? Like I've never heard that before. So I'm telling you. Number 6, stop comparing yourself to others. This is like number 1 thing everyone always tells you, and I know other people have like maybe stronger relationships to this, but like I've never like had that chip in me where like I see something somebody else has and I'm like, oh, I need it. Like I've always been like a pretty self-contented person, and I think that is where I draw a lot of like peace in my life. And I think that obviously there are certain things that like come natural to a person. Like having fun for me doesn't come natural. I have to plan that shit. But now it's becoming more natural. Like I had to work on that. I had to work on like not being so stressed out all the time. But I didn't really have to work on this skill. So I'm just saying this because like everyone is coming to this video at like different points in their life. But like I just think that comparison is the thief of joy, and being happy for other people in your life will make you a significantly healthier and happier person, because I genuinely, I am of the mindset, if you're not happy for your friends, or if they're not happy for you when you tell them things, like why? Like what? And there's a lot of people on this planet that operate that way. And I just think that I've gotten to a place where that's just something so incomprehensible to me, because I have not surrounded myself with those people, or if I get that kind of vibe, like I definitely distance myself. But that is just like a hard truth that has really served me well in my life, and it continues to serve me really well. So thought I'd share that. Number 7, take care of your appearance. Definitely like at least hundreds of people will see this video, but Did I put makeup on? No, but what I mean by taking care of your appearance, like take care of it like in your own way. Like when you feel good about yourself, when you feel good when you look into a mirror, your days just get so much better. Like since I've moved to London, I get to sort of dress exactly how I've like always wanted to dress as an adult. And I find it so fun. Like this city is just like perfect for long sleeve t-shirts. And I freaking love wearing long sleeve t-shirts. And that might be like something that's like so silly to somebody else. It is just genuinely like when I feel really good in a long sleeve t-shirt. Like I feel really good in like the color navy. And when I'm wearing those things, like there's genuinely not much that can stop me. So you've got to do things for yourself and cultivate your own personal style and feel good when you're doing those things because, and again, it's not about comparison. It's not about like looking like the people on social media or, you know, in the magazines, unless that's what you want. That's, you know, that's your prerogative, but it's just about doing the most best things for yourself. Do things for other people. I mean, I think that we are in a world that tells you to like do all these things for yourself. Like I just watched this like so many videos recently about like self-care and like just sort of like the ways that our generation is like so obsessed with self-care and like doing things for yourself, which like is a good thing. But I think being in a community and doing things for other people is such a big part of self-care. Like when you do things for other people, it makes you feel good. And it's just like, it's a domino effect in your life and other people's lives. I just think that complimenting a random person on the street, doing a favor for somebody with no expectation that they do something back for you, I think is just it's a good way to live. Because then you don't sort of have this mindset of like the world owes me things. And I think a lot of the times we are told that like if we do something we should get something back. While it is good to have reciprocation, just like doing good things for the sake of doing them, it's something that's just gonna make you like a healthier, more well-balanced person. I think that's a good rule for life. And then number 9 is gonna be take risks and make a fool of yourself. So this channel, I started this and I was making such a complete fool of myself, and it honestly broke down so many barriers in my life, and it allowed me in my personal life to just like be a fool at times, because life is silly and I am a foolish lady, and it just like taking things less seriously throughout the day and just like being okay with being embarrassed. Like it just, as an embarrassing person, like it cuts down on my overthinking so much, because I'm just like, everybody's embarrassing. Like everybody poops. That's a book that I read as a child. Thank you to my dad. And you know what? That is advice that just holds up. Everybody poops. And everybody gets embarrassed sometimes, and it's only embarrassing if you let it be embarrassing. That's what I think. And then number 10 is, I think throughout the pandemic and throughout my travels, I like had to pare down sort of all the things that I owned a few times and just like pack it all up in bags. And I find that I'm just like a lot happier when I'm focusing on experiencing things rather than like things I want to own. And I think, again, like this generation, like we're very obsessed, like, oh my gosh, have you guys seen this whole thing? Like, okay, the Sephora kids, that's crazy. And then like the Stanley Cup craze that's going on. Like I am concerned about that kind of stuff. And that's really like what I mean, like that extreme. Like obviously I'm a human being. Like I love clothes. Like I love getting a new jacket. Like I have a new book. You're kidding me. Like that's like half the reason I joined a book club, also for community. But I love buying a little book and a little treat. That is my favorite thing in the whole world. And I covet those things every day. I'm like, I need a little treat and I need a new book. Actually, I just bought a new book. It's just sitting on my floor. I kicked it over here. It was at a book sale. Yeah, another one, like self-improvement. Like I like to read. I like to learn about art. I don't really know that much about it. Again, making a fool of yourself. So I bought this book on like self-portraits by women, and it's this book about like the history of women in art, and it's a little bit more dense, but I like doing things like this. Like I make time for things like this because it like makes me feel this makes me feel successful. Like when I'm like reading a book about art, which like to somebody else they might be like, why are you doing that? That's boring. But you know what? I like it. So thank you very much. Yeah, so that's really it for this video. I just like thought that this would be an interesting compilation of like things that I have learned over the years, because moving abroad and taking a year off in the pandemic and all that kind of stuff, like it has just really led me to like a good place. And I hope other people are feeling this way too. And I just think that these are good rules for life, so take the advice if you want to, or not. You can just leave, that's fine. But at least it does say to have fun, and that I will stand by. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to.
Ba ba da ba da ba da.